Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on and ready to go.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
Good afternoon. Yes, I got it right. Finally, I'm doing a show during the day when I got it right, but it's only once. Good afternoon, Fox fans. How are we doing? It's getting closer. We're making signings. It might even be coming home. Yes, we could. Fingers crossed. You never know. Hey, Leicester won the FA Cup. You never know. You never know. Welcome along. It is Leicester Till I Die TV. We are on YouTube at Leicester Till I Die TV. Please give us a subscribe if you are viewing that way. Leicester Till I Die, the group in Facebook. And if you live in the Twitter sphere, at Leicester TID. We've got a special, and it's one of our In Conversation with.
On YouTube and your favourite podcast platform, this is Leicester Till I Die TV. In Conversation with...
the one and only Dave Bartram from ex-lead singer of Showaddywaddy. Good afternoon, David.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, Chris. Yeah, looking forward to the semi-final on Wednesday. It's great that the national team is lifting the spirits. Not that our spirits need lifting that much after our successful season last year, but it's all shaping up really nicely.
First, we've just got to quickly talk England. Can we do it?
I believe we can. I don't think Denmark will be a pushover. And
No.
Of course, they've got Kasper between the sticks, and he's in great form.
Yeah.
And the Christian Eriksen almost a tragedy. This seems to have really galvanised the Danes, and they've been playing some good football. And against their usual principles, they've actually been scoring a lot of goals. So it'll be a tough one, but I think we'll get through it.
I mean, it's opened up. Yeah, no, don't mention pens. It's opened up nicely on our side of the draw, if you like, but we can only play who we're up against. But Kane likes to score against Kasper, doesn't he? You know, they didn't even have a proper manager on the last day of the season, and he got some. So fingers crossed for once. I hope that continues.
So do I on this occasion, yeah.
But Dave, I mean, everybody that knows you of a certain age, me included, will know we grew up with Showaddywaddy. I mean, you know, it was. A bit. Yeah, I am a 70s child, and it's nice to be able to talk to somebody from the 70s that's able to talk to me. Let's leave it at that, shall we? But how did it all come about with Showaddywaddy?
Well, I was playing in a band, and I'm not long-term professional. The band was called Choice, going back to the very sort of 1971-ish. Yeah, and I'd been. I just completed all my training to become a telephone construction officer as such. and it was called post office telephones in those days, but of course it's known as BT now. But yeah, I finished my training, but I was playing in bands, and it had come to the point where I was playing with a pro band, as I say, called Choice, spelled with an S, and we had so many gigs that I was literally on some occasions going to work for the post office straight from doing a gig, an RAF base, in Upper Hayfield or somewhere out in the wilds of Oxfordshire. But anyway, something I did give, and it had been my dream to be a professional musician, and Choice offered me that opportunity to which I grasped with both hands. And before long, we were playing a gig called the Fossway Hotel on the outskirts of the city, which is still there.
Yes.
An upmarket Indian restaurant now, but we were playing in the back room there, and we used to play there sort of 2-3 times a week. And a lot of other local musos used to come along when they weren't working. And ultimately, it wound up in a jam with 4 other guys from a band called the Golden Hammers, and Showaddywaddy was born.
I've got to, and you probably must get asked this all the while. You'll get a lot of the questions I'm going to ask. I've asked all the time anyway. But Showaddywaddy, I mean, it was not sort of a short, sharp name, was it?
No, it is one of the most frequently asked questions. Certainly has been throughout my career. But it was my idea. We were rehearsing a song by an American doo-wop band called the Diamonds, and the song was called Little Darling, and we were rehearsing this for the set. And the backing vocals, basically hurrying away in the background, you could hear the guys going, pop, pop, Showaddywaddy, pop, pop, Showaddywaddy. And I just clicked onto this word, sort of Showaddywaddy, and said, yeah, we should call the band that, Showaddywaddy. It rolls off the tongue. And it was quite amazing, the reaction, because all the guys said, yeah, great name. And we didn't agree on most things, but there was that one. Yeah,
that one you agreed on. And of course, it is an unforgettable name. It's not one that you forget easily, is it? But of course, you did, I suppose, the youngsters these days would know X Factor and Britain's Got Talent. Back in the day, of course, we had was it Gary? I can't remember who presented it now, but ATV. That was because it was a local show, was it? New Faces.
New Faces. Well, it was a national show.
Yes,
but it came from Birmingham, the old ATV studios in Birmingham. And we were playing a gig in Birmingham one night, and a quite distinguished-looking silver-haired guy just strolled into the dressing room while we were all in our undies, and he said, "Hey lads, how would you like to be on the telly?" And we thought, yeah, we'll have a bit of that. Yeah, why not? Yeah, let's get the band's name out there. And we found ourselves sort of thrown to the walls, as it were, doing the Britain's Got Talent of its day. New Faces, and ultimately we won it quite comfortably, although without being unkind, some of the competition, the bar wasn't set very high.
Hey, you can still see it on YouTube. Even back in the day, they had the bad acts, didn't they?
There were a few. There were jugglers on television that they never really worked for me, and there were a few sort of oddments of acts, and they were just they had 5 minutes of fame, and but fortunately we'd been out there. We were quite colourful. We got all our sort of Ted suits, and we played we played really, really well. We put a medley of songs together to cram as much into our 3 minutes as possible, and it did the trick, and we won it with a record score. So that was great.
Yeah, and of course you got through to the final. The grand final, because they had like a grand final, didn't they? For the whole...
it was like an all winners contest.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that one sort of still rankles with me, because we were actually told before the show that we were coming second.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh wow!
No corruption on these talent shows,
No. Was your backstory not good enough or something?
We were deemed the winner was going to go on the London Palladium, and we were deemed as unsuitable. But because we'd already been signed by a record company, we were already signed to Bell Records, which was one of the really big labels at the time. And so it didn't rankle too much, but we still would have liked to.
Do you remember who got that winning spot? It wasn't like a Pudsey of its day, was it? A performing dog? Or...
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't quite that bad. No, it was a guy called Tom Waite. He was a crooner, a little bit in the sort of Michael Bublé mold, you might say. Right. Although I think Bublé is a lot better. But he was a crooner, but it just never took off for him. He did his slot at the London Palladium. And I think it was quite coolly received in the old way we used to use that word. But he just never really saw the light of day. But so not too many gripes. But no, where he is.
Not winning doesn't mean everything, but it.
Well, it does when it comes to Leicester City.
Well, it does. Yeah, we'll come on to that. But like you say, I'm shocked that they came and told you beforehand that you were going to be second.
It was astounding. Yeah, it was kind of, will we still perform as well? Will we go out there and really give it everything? And I think we did a pretty accomplished performance. But
was this in the day? I don't know if this was in the day when people rang in for that and they got charged like they do these days.
Yeah, absolutely. They used to make a fortune out of phone calls. And they were literally phoning in their millions. They're quite incredible in those days.
Yes, yeah. One thing I've got to talk about those days, and you haven't got it now, and I certainly haven't got it now, which is why I wear this cap. And I mean... That's one hell of a not quite a mullet, but one hell of a. You had the hair, didn't we, in the 70s?
Oh, I had plenty of it. All the girls used to really envy my hair. Whenever I had a girlfriend, or if we were on the road and I was sort of in a hotel chatting to friends or whatever, they all wanted to run their fingers through my hair.
Bit of role reversal.
The missus doesn't run her fingers through their hair very often these days. They wouldn't take very long anyway.
You look back at the 70s and it's like, the long hair, the kipper ties, the big thick collars on your things. It was.
That's a brummy cup of tea, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But maybe best forgotten. Possibly, but
I'm still clinging on to a little bit, Chris. But, inside I'm 21. It's only when I look in the mirror and I'm 60 and I think, oh my God, what's gone on? Where have those years gone? Absolutely. We've cracked a little bit into our years, and I think I've got a few in advance of you, mate.
we won't go there. We'll leave it at that. But it was an amazing career that you had. I mean, from 74 to 83, you had 23 singles that charted, 9 top 5s, 4 top 2s. Of course, you had the number 1, and we'll come on to it in a moment about Christmas. But it was an amazing career that you had, and you started off with your own songs. But when did it go to the change where you started covering songs?
The fifth single, we recorded Eddie Cochran's 3 Steps to Heaven, basically as an album track.
Yeah.
But when we
I remember having the cassette. Now how old's that?
Yes. Well, they're making a comeback cassette,
Everything is.
So they tell me
there's hope for us all yet.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, we recorded that for the album, which was called Step 2, The record company, when we delivered the album, they said, no, that's got to be a single, 3 Steps to Heaven. It's and they really laid the law down, so it stopped the run of original songs that Trevor Oakes and myself were writing. But, it was a huge hit. It made number 1 in some of the charts. There were 4 different charts in those days. But, and we were kept off number 1 in the national chart by Windsor Davis and Don Estelle with Whispering Grass.
That must hurt. Because you were number 1 up to the week before, weren't you? And it was all looking good.
Oh, at Christmas, yeah. It was the only time they'd had a chart on Christmas Eve, and we were removed literally the day before Christmas from number 1. But but that said, that single had sold 1 million. It had been in the charts for weeks, and it stayed in the charts even after Christmas for another 5 or 6 weeks. Quite incredible. So I mean, that was great to be right up there at Christmas.
Yes.
But I noticed on your little chart you'd only put singles, and we were fortunate enough in '78 to actually have the Christmas #1 album, which that's one of the proudest moments of my career, actually having the Christmas #1 album. That really takes some doing, and
I mean, you're quite right. I mean, I think people think of, well, certainly people are sort of my age anyway, we kind of think of singles, what's going to be Christmas #1 in the singles chart.
Yeah.
But like you say, it was all about, I mean, the singles basically were almost like promotions for the albums, weren't they?
They were trailers, yeah, they were for the albums, yeah. And some of our albums, I'm very proud of them. There's a lot of original material on those albums, and in 2019, only 2 years ago, our record company put together a collection called Showaddywaddy Gold, and it got into the top 10 album chart. And there was a bonus album there of original songs. And a lot of people, we've had so many kind messages via social media and through the band's website, really complimenting us on people discovering a lot of the songs that were on the albums that were never singles. So that's great. To have an album all those years later, it's quite incredible. It's album.
Oh God, yes. And I mean, for me, everybody's got their favourite songs. I mean, I love Sweet Music.
Great, that's one of mine, mate. So,
is it? Oh, I love that. I love that song. It's just, I love the drum beat to it. I mean, you had 2 drummers, didn't you?
1.5.
Go now. For the fact that I'm down here on the south coast, and I know they're not going to get me. Who was the half?
Well, I'm not going to get personal, but Romeo was the main drummer. And still is.
Yes. But I mean, and the great times. So you say that was one of your favourites, but go on, I've got to ask you this: what was your favourite
of our singles? The one I heard you sneakily listening to when
yes, you caught me. You caught me there.
Caught you listening to a Waddy song. I wonder why. Right. I remember being in the studio till about 5 o'clock in the morning, really working away, putting loads and loads of vocals on that one. And I remember at the end of the night, after we mixed it and put it to bed, basically, listening back, and I was always our fiercest critic, but that one I sort of sat back with a real contented glow.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's a really, really decent record. And so from a personal point of view, that is my favourite Waddy single.
Right. And you say you caught me out there because, like I say, I was listening to you while I was waiting for you to come on. And I've got to say, I did tell you this, that the YouTube, as it does, it gives you these links to other shows. You watch one video, 3 hours later, you follow the link through to another, and it did link me from yourself on I Wonder Why to Demis Roussos. I'm not sure what the tie-in there was.
Yeah, that's mystifying, that one.
I will have to look into that.
We did work with him once.
Sorry,
we did work with him once.
Did you? What was it?
A big old fellow over in Germany, I think. It was a big old boy. He loved his football.
Yes, yeah. I mean, was there a song that you didn't recall that you would have loved to have recovered?
I think you could always, listen to the classic writers, can't you? And sort of just admire the way that they've crafted their songs. I mean, there are so many, Chris, but I just wish we'd done, a couple of singles. When I listen to "Summertime Blues" by Eddie Cochran, it's just an amazing energy. That I don't think it's so difficult to capture energy like that in a studio. And I think in this day and age, recording is such a long drawn out process. It speaks volumes for for a band getting into a studio all together and just creating this magnificent piece of work.
Yes,
complete with all that adrenaline. It's a wonderful thing, and it's something I don't think we ever really managed to quite pull off. Some of the Waddy singles are great, and there is energy in there, but I listen to those songs and Come On Everybody and some of the Elvis things from that era. The energy is it's just mind blowing.
yes, yeah. I've got to ask this as well, is because on that first single, Hey Rock and Roll, and I think Rock and Roll Lady, the follow-up, you weren't the lead singer.
No.
But then that changed. I mean, you were bigger than and I can't, no disrespect to the guy, I've forgotten his name off the top of my head, but you were taller than him. Did you say, "Oi, this is my gig"?
No, I mean, I was the lead singer, but of the songs that we recorded, Hey Rock and Roll. I remember putting that together with Trevor in his mother's living room on a reel-to-reel recorder, and Trevor had the idea for the verses, and then I came up with the idea for the chanted chorus, and it really worked a treat. But when we were in the studio, for some reason, Buddy went in there. God rest his soul. He died 5 or 6 years ago. But it worked. It was a great single, and I was sort of yelling away on the intro and doing my bit. But well, it was. I suppose it was a bit like Lennon and McCartney. But, I was predominantly the lead singer and sang most of the.
Yes, you did
on stage. But
you did. Yeah. Talking about chanting, and we'll come on to say Leicester City in a minute, but we are in the middle of the Euros, and I couldn't let the time this go past without mentioning the Waddy England song.
England.
Hey England! I don't know if anybody knows that one. It was sort of slipped under the radar a little bit, that one, didn't it?
Well, it was. I remember we went on breakfast television to do it live at about 6 o'clock in the morning. That was a bit of a rude awakening. But unfortunately, I don't know why. Our record company, only one of the guys in there was a football fan, and we'd done this version while we were making an album. It was Hey Rock and Roll with Hey England, Here we come Berlin, that's where the final was going to be. Yeah. But it was never actually released, so that's why it didn't really see the light of day.
But it is available on YouTube, guys. And Dave, you do show off some nifty movements there and nifty ball skills.
Oh yes, yeah. I love my football. Yeah. Grew up with it. I was a keeper.
Oh, come on to that.
I was a keeper at school. They used to call me the cat.
Not because you laid in the goal and just.
No, I think it was because I gave my defence kittens.
Love it. But I just brought up then, of course, you along with many of your other talents, singing and football, you also written a couple of books there. The Boys of Summer in 2013, all mapped out in 2020. They are still available on Amazon, and if anybody's watching on YouTube, I hope people will be watching on YouTube, the link to the page is actually in the description, and they are great books. Tell us about the books, Dave.
Well, there's a third one on the way now, my first work of fiction, which is basically about the rock and roll industry, and it's with a little bit of a murder mystery plot in there as well, so I really enjoyed putting that together, and that's ready for release very, very, very soon. So I'm quite excited about that. But
look out for that.
It was something I wanted to do when I was on the road. In fact, the last sort of 3 or 4 years when I was on the road with the band, I'd started making a lot of notes. And I was never a diarist, but just a great memory. And one story just seemed to trigger another one. And I thought, now I've got to write a book. The book I wanted to write, the second one, All Mapped Out, really that covers sort of a lot of the band's career and a lot of personal experiences within the band. But the first one was a little bit very self-deprecating read, The Boys of Summer, which was about a tour that the band did in 2005 of basically caravan parks, and it didn't work out quite as we would have liked, because a lot of the stages and the venues were really quite unsuitable to put on a band of our size, all stature, for but.
Well,
yeah,
you weren't a small band, were you? And you did a lot of dancing.
We weren't, but some of these venues they were almost like playing in pubs. But and everything that could go wrong did go wrong during that tour, and it was quite an emotional roller coaster ride, because I lost my mum during that tour as well, and it was like I say, it was a real roller coaster ride. But it does show the rather unglamorous side of rock and roll. Like I say, it's very self-deprecating, and
it wasn't all sex, drugs, and rock and roll then.
Quite the opposite, actually. No,
you're ruining it here, Dave. You're ruining it.
It's a very funny read, because it's we were literally taking the mickey out of ourselves on some of those gigs, and it was you had to have a smile on your face to get through it.
Sure you did. Well, I say they are still, like I say, available on Amazon, and as I say, the link to Dave's page on Amazon is in the description below. But of course, you're a Leicester lad. You're a Leicester fan, and you have the birch crying here on this picture that I found. What have you done to him?
Over the years.
Sorry.
I've made him cry a few times over the years.
Not through your singing, I hope.
We've shared a few experiences, the Birch and I.
I mean, we're of a similar sort of era, as we said at the start, and we've gone through some bad times with the club, haven't we? But it makes the good times even better.
Oh, indeed. Now, Leicester's always been a very real club. There's like you say, we've been through the heartache. And I think we've probably had more heartache than most clubs, particularly, the Vichy incident, was just so tragic. And to see the way Top has come through that is phenomenal. And to win the cup for him this year, what a wonderful moment that was.
Those scenes, and I never apologise for bringing this up, because I do it a lot, but those scenes afterwards when Casper went and dragged him down onto the pitch, and he was, lifting the cup, he was jigging up and down with the team. That, to me, summed up Leicester at the moment.
When Tiedemann hugged him, he got really glassy eyes. It was there wasn't a dry eye in the house, I don't think.
No, and I think when I talk to fans of other clubs, which I do a lot on different shows, they all say, you would never get that at our club, especially the so-called Big Six and their breakaways and what have you. But I mean, hopefully that hug means a little bit. He might want to stay with us. Fingers crossed with Dillons. But
one would hope so. Yeah. And the most special moment of all for me, being a Leicester fan, was Bocelli singing at the King Palace.
Yes.
I couldn't hold it in.
I was about to say, they say men shouldn't cry. The other people say real men do cry. But at that, I'm sorry, I had a tear in my eye when he did this.
It was astonishing when he revealed his Leicester shirt beneath his tracksuit.
Oh God, yes, it was just. I mean, we laughed at when Richai and Topham they first came into the club that he wanted us in Europe in 5 years and regular. We thought, okay. I mean, I was a little bit worried because Milan had sold obviously Portsmouth before this, and he'd sold it to a bit of a gay dark, I think the guy was called, Russian, who ended up in prison and ripping the club off. So I was a little bit worried about who he was selling to, but my God, we've got the owners that everybody wants, don't we?
Oh, they're unbelievable. They've been unbelievable. They're such great people.
Yes,
and they're fans. They're fans first and foremost. They're fans. Yes. Top's still dipping into his funds, to try and improve the team, and it's I mean, we're having such a great time as Leicester fans at the moment because, you know, we play a great brand of football. We've got a great manager. We've got an incredible squad that is just getting better all the time.
Yes.
I just hope we can hold on to Yuri. I really, really do. I think he's an amazing player.
I mean, we've just got, I mean, he stands out. We have got so many amazing players. But over the years, you know, we had, I mean, I can remember my first game was a friendly against, we were playing Red Star Belgrade, as was then, who were kind of the Barcelona of the day. And they'd just come, I think they'd beaten Nottingham Forest a couple of nights before, who were European champions at the time. I think we beat them 3-0 on the night. But that was my sort of, you know, the Bloomfield here. I mean, you know, we never won anything, but to go and watch them, you know, the Wellers, the Worthingtons, then Glover, who lived opposite me, I always quote this, used to take his dog for a walk for him. You know, I mean, they were great. We didn't win anything, but they were great times back then, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, we got into the top four, and, you know, I think I remember we lost a semi-final to Liverpool.
Yes,
and I think everybody thought that, you know, that was going to be our year when we won the cup. But no, you know, it didn't happen, and we've had a lot of heartache in the cup. But I remember as a young kid going up to Liverpool for a fifth round tie. It was a replay, and I saw Andy Lockhead score the winner, and I was in the middle of the cup, and I couldn't cheer. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sat here now, Chris.
Yes, yeah. Oh God, Andy Lock. I did meet him once in Burnley. Would you believe?
Burnley,
he came from Burnley.
Alzheimer's now.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he's not so well, and we wish him well.
Yeah, indeed.
But yeah, his actual daughter sort of lived 3 doors down with her family, and she saw me with a Leicester top on once, and I thought she said, "Oh, do you know, have you heard of Andy Lockett?" Well, yeah, of course I have, blah, blah, blah. I said, "Oh, would you like to meet him?" And I'm like, "Yeah, right, whatever." You know, pull the other one. Yeah, it's my dad. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. 10 minutes later, he was there. Lovely guy. And like I say, we do wish him all the best. But we've got a show coming up tomorrow because a lot of people will remember the bad times under Peter Taylor. I mean, he managed to take what was a great squad and completely decimate it. But we had the same with Frank McClintock when he took over from Jimmy Bloomfield.
Yeah, Frank wasn't ready. He just wasn't ready.
No.
I mean, in Taylor's case, he just wasn't good enough.
No. And Taylor did well until he actually had to buy his own players. We still don't understand the link between Junior Lewis and Peter Taylor because wherever he went, he took Junior Lewis with him.
Absolutely. There was a lovely the little clips that are going around on everybody's phone. There was a beauty actually at the weekend of Mancini, and he's in a huddle with all the Italian players. And I don't know if you saw it. He said, "Junior Lewis passed it to me on a plate," and I have it at home. Yeah, I mean, fantastic. Yeah.
That is, I've seen that one. That is a classic. That is funny. I mean, Junior Lewis couldn't pass wind, could he? You know,
he was absolutely hopeless. One of the worst players I think that ever donned the Leicester City jersey.
Yes. He must have had a video on Peter Taylor. He really must have had something on him, you know. But you followed Leicester around. We kind of touched it with Martin O'Neill. We had a taste. We won the League Cup. You could argue that it was before the big teams took it seriously, but as I always say, you can only play against who you are. But I mean, back in the day, 3 finals in 4 years, 2 victories. We had a great team then, and it was kind of, to me, that's where this Foxes never quit under Martin O'Neill came. I mean, you must remember that 3-3 with Arsenal that night at Filbert Street.
Well, I remember that. I mean, it's a magnificent result for Leicester, to come back twice. Yeah. But I will never forget that game for the skill of Bergkamp. He was absolutely devastated.
Yes. I mean, I think it was Matt. Was it Matt Elliott that he kicked it? He just kicked it over and left. It was Gather-esque, wasn't it?
He was absolutely awesome. He really was. Yeah. But then, to see Walshy go up again Arsene Wenger's waving his arm around, saying it's time, and he nods it in 3-0.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a cracker. It was an absolute wonderful game.
I spoke to Steve Walsh some months ago, and I did say, had you not been held back, would you have gone for Ian Wright at the end? And he actually said yes, he would have done. Which is some Steve Walsh up, really, doesn't it?
Walsh didn't take any prisoners though.
He did not. No, and we loved him for it. But that was another player that Peter Taylor just ripped the heart and soul out of.
Yes, he took O'Neill's team, and I think there was definite discontentment in the camp. He obviously wasn't bringing anything new to the table, and it was just hopeless. He was utterly hopeless, and we watched it. I mean, to go to the first game of a football season, when normally every fan is full of optimism.
Yeah.
And to be sat in the stands saying Taylor out when we lose 5-0 at home to Bolton Wanderers. I mean, that was an all-time low. That really was an all-time low.
I can remember I was in Burnley, lived in Burnley at the time, and I was listening to it on the radio in the park with my kids. And at 1-0, because of course Bolton had just been promoted. It was their first game back up in the Premier League. They said, we'll get this back. And every time they said, we're going back, there's been another goal at Filbert Street. It was 2-0, 3. And I'm thinking, like, oh, my God. Because he'd actually started off quite well. I mean, he was manager of the month. He was England manager. He was made England manager on the strength. We were top of the league for 2 weeks, although it was an international break. So we'll try and forget that. But he had been England manager, but I think it was just sort of too much for him. And then some of the purchases he made, we mentioned the sort of Junior Lewis, Adi Akinbaye wasn't a bad player, and I think he took a lot of stick, and he gave 100%. And of course, he moved to Burnley afterwards, and I met him after the game once when I got my Leicester top on when Leicester were playing Burnley. I had a brief chat with him. Lovely, lovely guy, but he was just never. We bought him and never played him to his strengths.
No, he needed somebody alongside him. He wasn't an out-and-out striker. I think he'd scored a couple of great goals at Wolves, but he was just left on his own. And it became a bit like a headless chicken.
Yes.
Just charging here, there, and everywhere, and giving his best, but just not getting the goals that we'd signed him to do. No. I mean, we like I say, hindsight's a marvelous thing, but we criticize him for what he did. But like you say, it's like when we bought Ahmed Musa, amazing player. First game I saw was against Barcelona in the ICC. He scored 2 amazing goals. I thought, what a talent we've got here. And then all he was doing, he was stuck out on the wing. Yeah. If you're going to buy these players, then because somebody said the other day, will you stick Dako on the wing because of Vardy and Inacho? I bloody hope not. You can't buy these players that are good at one thing and not use them for that. I think Rodgers is too savvy to do that. He'll be playing whoever's in form, and of course, Inacho's form in the latter part of last season was staggering. He was fantastic. He really was. The only game he didn't really show up was the last game of the season against Spurs. It's tremendous. He's a natural striker. He is.
And I actually do blame him on my huge weight gain because I've eaten that much humble pie that I've put about 3 stone on. I mean, I work when we signed him. I worked with a Man City fan, and she was so upset that they'd sold him because they loved him.
Yeah.
And again, but they played to his strengths. And then and I thought, this is going to be great. And it just never quite happened. It was almost like accidental. But yes, once he got into his position, once we played to his strengths rather than using him as a Vardy number 2, it worked. And Vardy, bless him, he took his position as a provider more, and it was just like, Inacho, got to give it to you. And he was just on fire, wasn't he?
He was fabulous. In actual fact, I don't think, without Inacho, I don't think we would have made the cup final.
No, No.
Yeah,
I mean, he did. I mean, that
run.
goal against Southampton, it did take him a couple of attempts, but who cares? It ended up in the back of the net.
That's right. But he scored his 2 goals against Man U. Were so precious. That was a tremendous victory, and of course his last-minute header against Brighton. It was he's wonderful.
And when you look at his he's a lovely lad. Again, what was it? He said, like, it was that cold against Brighton, we couldn't do another 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, they all call him senior man now, don't they?
They do, and he deserves it. But I mean, look back. I can say, I mean, I remember Filbert Street with fond memories, and the Walkers. Fraudulent slip. The King Power is an amazing stadium, and we probably, didn't help the fact that we got Peter Taylor in just as we were paying that off, and obviously we went out of business. But true. Filbert Street was, and I know Martin O'Neill used to say he used to reverse players out to the pitch when he's signing them, so that you could see the Carling stand and not the stand opposite. But it was a lovely old ground, wasn't it? It was the atmosphere there.
Atmosphere. I remember when I was a kid, they used to get 42,000 in there, and it was the place was rocking, to say the least.
Yes, yeah, and the old pens that they had, and I remember being down there for a Chelsea match one night, and they'd moved it to the Friday night because the Tigers were playing on the Saturday, and of course Chelsea were in blue, Leicester were in blue, and it was just chaos. There was flares going off in the family stand. There was Leicester not doing anything that you could ever believe Leicester would do right, scored, which made it even worse, and it was like, thank God Chelsea equalised. I left at half time because literally I was that scared because they were breaking into our pen and everything. You couldn't get out. The doors were locked. I mean, can you imagine that these days with health and safety? You literally had to get a policeman to come and open the door. But
there were a few of those games where it got a bit hairy. I remember a game against Forest, a local derby, when it was almost like a bloodbath, and everybody was trying to just get away from it. It was I'm so glad that we came out of that, and it's really civilized going to the King Power these days. It's a great stadium.
It is.
Everybody that goes, particularly the home supporters, are always so they're on a high. We look forward to it so much.
It took a bit of I think when we first moved in, I think it takes a while for any club to sort of settle into the new stadium and get the new groups of thinking. But I mean, I love the Clappers. I mean, I just think they added such a one of the things I think in keeping us up, that they added to the atmosphere, and they couldn't stop doing it then, could they? They had to carry it on.
But during the title-winning season, 5-3. I mean, that stadium, it made the hair stand up on the back of your neck. It's worth a gold star.
Yes, yeah. Did you? I mean, were you there for that Man United 5-3 game?
Oh yeah, that was one of the great games.
Yes, yeah. I honestly thought we were going to really do big things that season.
And that was the birth of Jamie Vardy, wasn't it, really?
It was, yes, yeah. And I always have to say this whenever I mention it, apologise to the lady that was sat next to me, because as I jumped up, I think it was for the fourth goal, I think I slipped, went back and ended up in her lap, and I should put an advert in the paper. Who was that lady? But I was there. It was one of those, I was there with my son moments, because I was with my son when we did it. And I remember saying, like, we've done well now, sort of 20 odd minutes, we've not conceded. And then they got the goal. And that Di Maria goal they scored was amazing. But that's the thing. I can't believe. I mean, we've gone from Peter Taylor going out of business, Gary Lineker forming the my old schoolmate, as it happens, was at school with Gary Lineker. He saved us, and then we had Milan came in, and he kind of saved us again. And then we had those I was there with my son moments. I never thought I would take my son to see Leicester in the Champions League.
They were great games. They were terrific games. Yeah, again, just hearing that theme the theme music at the beginning of the game.
The hairs, wasn't it, on the back of your neck?
Electrifying.
Yes.
And I remember the Copenhagen supporters, they were letting off fireworks, weren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
how the hell did they get those in? That was the question.
I do not know. But there was some great... For me, Ben Chilwell's best game he ever played for Leicester City was when he came on the second half against Atletico Madrid. He was amazing.
Yes.
And
I like Ben Chilwell. I think he took a lot of stick from the fans undeservedly. I've got to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think he always made mistakes at sort of key times.
But he had a goal in him, though, didn't he? Right?
Oh, yeah, he had a goal in him. I mean, he was a great prospect, but all of a sudden he was kind of thrust into the role of like England left back, and I never thought he was quite good enough. And in actual fact, going back to England now, you look at Luke Shaw, and now he looks. He
had a great game, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what a fullback needs to do. He needs to be able to defend and get forward, and Luke Shaw is doing it beautifully.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing left now for Leicester to win in this country. You know, we've won the Charity Shield, we've won the League Cups, we've won the Premier League, we've won the FA. It's got to be Europe for us now, hasn't it?
I think we could go a long way in the Europa. I think this season, I don't think we really embraced it last year because we've got such a busy schedule.
Yes.
But
we didn't have the squad really. And there's so many injuries because of the schedule, you know.
But again, the squad. I think it was the squad really that was the reason that we didn't qualify for the Champions League. Yeah, because we just ran out of players in the last game, didn't we? You know, once Fofana was injured, you kind of knew the writing was on the wall.
But I mean, that's how far we've come because, you know, fifth for 2 years running, Europa League for 2 years running, and we sat there disappointed because we didn't get Champions League.
Yeah,
I mean, give me that a couple of years ago when we were away at Yeovil, you know, you'd have beat your hands off, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know, it'd
be nice to do a few road trips as well, you know, because we should be able to go.
Yes.
But,
I mean, what a manager! I mean, you know, Ranieri. I always say, as brilliant as he is, and I'd have his kids, to be honest with you. I love him for what he did, but he very much rode on the back. Pearson had put the foundations in, and I don't think Pearson would have necessarily won it for us, but, you know, Ranieri moved on to that. But after he went, we struggled to kind of find that replacement. But Brendan, if we can keep hold of him, he could just create a new dynasty, couldn't he?
Well, he already is doing, isn't he?
Well, yes.
Yeah. I mean, he is a tremendous manager, and it's great to see, you know, a couple of performances last season away at Spurs and away at Arsenal. His tactics, he just got them spot on, which in fairness, Gareth Southgate is doing with England.
Yes.
You know, it's very much tactics that's so important in the modern game.
It is.
And Brendan is brilliant at it.
I mean, we look there sometimes and you think, what the hell is he doing picking that team? What are you doing, Brendan? And we win at the end. Oh, great choice, Brendan. You just knew what you were doing then.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're fickle if nothing else as football fans, aren't we? But
we are. But you know, Leicester fans are, you know, very passionate, and you know we've got so much to be proud of now. We're the envy of so many clubs, and that's wonderful. You know, I still travel about a lot, and when I say, you know, I'm a Leicester City fan, if they don't already know, you know, people say to me these days, "Oh yeah, a bit like being a Man U fan, isn't it?" I said, "No, you know, I was brought up in Leicester, you know, I'm a Leicester fan."
Yes.
And you know, and they say, "Oh really? Yeah. When did you go to your first game?" "When I was 9, you know." And
yes, I went on. I was in Norway before COVID stopped us getting out, and I went to see the Northern Lights. So we docked.
Did you actually see them?
Just just, you know, it was not the, you know, the best trip, but I did get to see them if I claim, you know. An amazing thing.
I saw them in Iceland. I was very, very fortunate.
They're amazing, aren't they? They're amazing, you know. And I mean, when you look back, it always looks better looking back because you can see the colours better and everything. But I'd gone an hour inland. In this was past the Arctic Circle to this camp that they'd got set up, And of course, it was bloody cold, obviously, because this was like 11 o'clock at night in Norway, in the Arctic Circle. I got a scarf on, which I'd forgotten because I'd hung it 70s style off my belt because I wasn't using it at the time. It was a Leicester scarf. And suddenly this guy shouts from behind me, "Oh, Leicester City, how are you doing?" And I just thought it was one of the guys off the cruise ship. It wasn't. It was somebody Norwegian, but knew us because of obviously what we've done recently. And we are, I think clubs do look at us and think they do envy us. We've set the bar for other clubs to say it can be done. But when you look at Ian Wright, post FA Cup, and we've said before about top with the players, and he admitted he was jealous of what we have as a club. Yeah,
I think a lot of people are. It's the harmony. Within the club. I'm very privileged that I know sort of Susan Whelan and we have sort of VIP seats and which we pay for. But it's there's such a wonderful bunch of people, and everyone is pointing in the same direction.
Yes,
they all want the club to be successful, and it's brilliant.
Yes, and when you're looking as well, we spoke very briefly before we came live. The signings we're making. We do worry about who might go, but that's Leicester. But if Yuri goes, we're going to get at least I would have thought 80 million for him. So we're not going to sort of lose out, if you like, as such. Mm-hmm. But the players we're bringing in, and even Bartram. I keep wanting to say Bartram. I'm making this guy sound French and continental and very small. Bertrand, that's a great signing because he's going to do what Fuchs is going to do. I always said Fuchs saw Leicester City as like the Hotel California. He could never escape. He tried every year. No. We tied him down for another year. But, you look at the signings, not like Daka, obviously, and Samare, great signings. And I get fans going like, why are you getting these players? And I'm saying, well, they're there. Why aren't you getting them?
Yeah, that's right.
And you buy them offers at inflated prices 3 seasons later. But it's the youth as well that's coming through. Luke Thomas scored in Europe, FA Cup winners medal. Dewsbury Hall, great season, many awards at Luton.
He'll be a good squad player.
Yeah. The future's bright, the future's blue, as they say.
The future's great. I mean, I think we can hold on to the majority of the players, and I do hope we hang on to Yuri. I've kind of, he's my favourite player at the moment.
Yes.
He's just he's a class apart. He's one of the best midfielders probably in the world.
Yeah.
And I don't think we'll hang on to Waddy though. I think somebody will come in definitely for Danny Ward. He's had a great Euros with Wales. But then again, we've got the new Casper, as they call him in Denmark, Everson. He's coming through. Yeah,
we do have a surplus of good. We always have had good goalkeepers: Banks, Shilton, Wallington, as we go down the list. But I mean, it was 12 million when we got him from Liverpool, and I thought that's quite a lot of money for a reserve keeper. And he didn't have the games, I think, because we came out of the League Cup quite early. That's where he's normally played. He didn't get a run in the FA Cup. I know Schmeichel's obviously going to be difficult to replace, but I can understand. Like you say, he's had a great Euro for Wales. I can understand it if we do lose him.
Yes, I get that one. Yeah.
Yes.
So every player wants first team football.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think there's probably another couple of signs. I'd like to see us sign another wide man. Under didn't quite fit the bill. I don't know. I just don't think he quite got the Premier League. He couldn't quite understand how it worked.
He had spells, didn't he? And I wanted him to do so well. And I wanted him to be picked and to be brought on. And he never, even when substitutions were being made, he was never on. There's the rumours about if we played him anymore, do we have to pay, etc. But it just didn't click. And in fairness, I think, he didn't have a good Euros for Turkey.
No, but it was difficult for him because he comes in, he's a wide man. Now, if he's not playing, then Albrighton's going to play. And if he'd have watched Albrighton and learnt from Albrighton, Yeah, he'd have been charging back into his own box. He'd have been doing a lot more than he actually did. But,
Yes.
Albrighton,
of course, has been linked. I did a show last night.
He's
been linked with Burnley.
Yeah, he'd be a good signing for Burnley. But I hope we don't lose him, because he's still, I think, as we stand, probably the best crosser of the ball we've got.
Unbelievable! You can put it on a plate. It reminds me very much. I mean, remember Steve? You'll remember Steve Guppy. You know, I mean, he oh God, he could ping a crossing like
the left peg,
yeah, unbelievable. But again, it's whether Albrighton, he's 31, he looks at this and thinks, I've only got a few years left, I want regular football, or whether he's happy to be, because I think he's quite more effective as a sub coming on.
He's just such a workhorse.
Yes,
he's got a fantastic engine, he really has, and what a substitute, a player to bring on 30 minutes to go, and he gives you that extra energy. He's a wonderful player.
I think Vardy will go down that route as well. I think he will become the super sub. You can imagine a defence that's played for 80 minutes, totally knackered. Oh, bugger it, Vardy's coming on.
But with Daka as well, obviously we've got a pacey, striker who will get. It just depends what kind of a game he plays, where he likes to come in from. But we're not.
I'm going to thank you for coming on, but I just want to say before we go, a couple of things here. You, of course, have yet another string to your bow. You're a man of many talents, Dave, and we should forget you obviously are a pointless champion. Twice, is it?
Yeah, I won it twice. Yeah, once for the.
Not greedy at all, are you?
No, not at all. But it's a good experience.
With Dave Hill there, I mean, that must have. I mean, that guy's a nutter, isn't he?
Oh, Dave's a lovely fella. I've known Dave for years and years. We still keep in touch, and he always sends me sort of happy birthday, happy Christmas, all that.
Oh.
He's a really, really good guy, Dave.
You've not converted him to Leicester yet, then? Not got him down the King Power?
No, he's a Wolverhampton boy.
Oh, I get that. There's clues when he speaks, isn't it? Really,
That's right. He's not a massive football fan, to be honest.
No.
But no, it was great to Dave. And then the second time, I had a heavy rocker along with him. But yeah, it's good experience. And I've always been a bit of a quiz buff anyway.
Yes.
So it was good fun. I was just disappointed that in the second final when I said this whole house at the end, and I should have said Rosemary Clooney instead of Shaking Stevens. I would have got another pointless answer.
Oh, I know. I'm not saying anything because I'm old enough to remember. Well, I was about to say, was there any music questions? And you answered it then straight away. Indeed. But your new book's out, you were saying. Tell us about the new book. When's it out?
It's called Killer Line. A killer line in a song is, as I'm sure you probably know, is a line that you would die for.
Yes.
Like Paul Simon writes a lot of those, and I think Lennon used to do a few as well. But Killer Line. It's a kind of murder mystery meets rock and roll, bit of fiction, and perhaps a little bit of fantasy on my own part. But perhaps the lead character is modelled a little bit on perhaps what I would have liked to have been as well.
I was waiting for who you were going to say then. When's it due out?
I'm still talking to the publishers. It's being sort of prepped at the moment.
Right.
And it shouldn't be long, certainly before the end of the year.
We'll have you back on then to have a chat about that. That'd be great.
Brilliant.
Yeah. We spoke again the other day. You were saying I got you back out on the road because you were saying you're doing some work with the band again.
Yeah, we've been putting a new version of Showaddywaddy together. We've been out on the road. Romeo is the only sole surviving original. And we put a group of musicians together with Romeo, and they're sounding great. I've been kind of overseeing things and giving them the benefit of my experience, and they'll be back out on the road. Actually, they do their first gig next weekend, so So,
where's that at? Where are they going to be
Western
gigging?
Supermare.
Right. I was going to say, maybe not many Leicester fans down there. I don't know.
Many. I wouldn't have thought so.
You're not tempted to get the old crepes on again and the drain pipes?
No, it's not something I really want to do anymore. I still enjoy being involved in the industry and sort of managerial capacity and doing other bits and pieces. Although, our industry, I don't want to sound sort of bitter, but the government have not looked after the music industry at all throughout this pandemic. But we just can't wait to get back doing something and getting out on the road and just making people happy again.
Yes, yeah, that's what we want. And
Indeed.
Whatever I said, and I was listening to I Wonder Why, the song's always got your feet tapping, and that's what we want, a bit of joy and happiness. Dave, thank you so much for spending the time and giving me the hour there of your time. I know it's precious, and I really do appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Good luck with the book. Like I said, we'll have you back on when that comes out, and good luck with the band as well. Please stay safe and take care, and thank you so much for coming on.
And you too. And here's to Wednesday night. So we've got another final to view next weekend.
Another final, and maybe another Premier League trophy next season.
Ooh.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, with Leicester City, you never know.
This is true. Dave, stay safe, mate. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.
All the best. Bye. Bye. Thanks to Dave there for coming on. Great guy. He's made a happy man feel very old. That's all I can say. Thank you for that. We're back tonight, 7:00, with a preview of the Euro 2020 semis. Can we do it? Like Dave said there, we can do it, can't we? We'll see you tonight at 7. Thanks very much, guys. And again, many thanks to Dave Bartram from Showaddywaddy for joining us. Goodbye.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all their social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
To an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.